news came back, Drew did show up to court today, and he showed up in his normal hoodie and attire. It was a win for Desiraye. It was a win for Deshawn. All the energy that we've been sending, I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier. What I want to point out about Desiraye is that the whole time Desiraye was saying, I want to make sure that he's not ripped from his home. I want to make sure, that his mental health is okay. I want to make sure that he's being supported. I don't want to just rip him out of somewhere that he knows. And that's a mom's true love, right? She doesn't want to just rip this boy out and say, you have to be here, because she knows that that's going to upset him. And that's what a mom is. Miss Thompson's like, no, you can't have him and we need to get a lawyer. That's not a mom, which just solidifies that she's not a mom. Kudos to Desiraye for putting the boy first. So apparently the judge ruled that Drew cannot stay at the visits. He has to drop Deshawn off and leave. The visit this week will be wherever Desiraye wants it to be. And then next week will be the first sleepover. And then the week after that will be just a visit. And then the next week will be a sleepover. Arlita, Jolene, Drew's mom were present, and Drew ignored them. If either party doesn't follow the court orders, they're going to be held in contempt of court. It said on Reddit that the judge is super fed up with Drew, and his excuses and his presentation in court is disrespectful and rude. So at one point it said on Reddit that the judge said, if you don't follow these rules, I'll just give Desiraye full custody. I don't know if that's true because I'm at work and I haven't been able to watch the live. She did say that neither Stephanie nor the other party should be posting Deshawn or about Deshawn. Des, this is a huge win, and I'm so pleased about this one. Des is to be listed on all school papers. She is to be the first emergency contact, and if he doesn't apply, he will be held in contempt of court. So basically, the judge knows Drew doesn't give a shit about Deshawn, that this is all a power play, that Stephanie's behind the scenes. Apparently, Drew was very disrespectful, giving one-word answers, saying whatever, slumped over. I'm going to post a picture. But at the end of the day, it was a win. It was a win for Desiraye. It was a win for Deshawn, and this is a new beginning. This is a new beginning for Deshawn and a new beginning for Desiraye, and I think this might be the end of Drew and Stephanie. Call it a hunch.
Oh. Babe, you're not ready for this tea, so grab your snacks because what went down in court this week has everyone talking, and yes, Stephanie Jenkins is right at the center of the mess. So here's the scoop. After months, no, years of whispers, passive-aggressive posts, mysterious GoFundMes, and poor Mia stories, the truth finally started slipping out from behind Stephanie's carefully curated image. The single mom warrior act? Let's just say, the mask cracked, and the timing couldn't be more delicious. It all started with what was supposed to be just another custody hearing. Nothing new, right? Stephanie and Drew had been pulling strings from behind the curtain for ages, spinning the narrative that Desiraye, Deshawn's biological mother, was unreliable, unstable, and totally out of the picture. Online, Stephanie made herself look like the one holding everything together, posting cryptic captions about fighting battles the world doesn't see, and vague quotes about protecting peace. But what people didn't see was the control, the manipulation, and the relentless efforts to erase Desiraye completely from her own son's life. We're talking fake emergencies, shady job excuses, private DMs to mutuals spreading rumors, and let's not forget those suspicious GoFundMes that always just happened to pop up when court dates were near. And while everyone thought Stephanie was just helping Drew, turns out, she might have been the one running the entire operation. The moves were too calculated, too conveniently timed. Every time Desiraye tried to step up and claim her place in her son's life, boom, something popped off. A random accusation, a mysterious health scare, or Drew suddenly finding out he couldn't take off work. But babe, the real twist? This time, the courtroom was ready. And Desiraye, quiet, calm, and completely overlooked by the Jenkins duo, came prepared, not just legally, but emotionally. She wasn't there to argue. She was there to reclaim. And the vibe? Immaculate. Now this is where it gets juicy. A day before the hearing, Drew allegedly calls the court, claiming he has mandatory job training on the exact day of the hearing. Really? After weeks of knowing the date? Girl, come on. It was giving panic mode. Like maybe the pressure was finally getting to them. Maybe they knew they couldn't hide behind Stephanie's stories anymore. Desiraye didn't flinch. She didn't beg for delays or play the waiting game. She stood her ground, told her lawyer she'd be there no matter what, and when the day came, she showed up with her head high, her paperwork ready, and years' worth of receipts behind her smile. And then, guess who finally dragged himself in late? Drew strolled into the courtroom a full 10 minutes behind schedule, looking like he had just rolled out of someone's basement. Same outfit as the last hearing, by the way, hoodie over his head, slides on his feet, a fanny pack slung across his chest like he was at a cookout. not a custody hearing. It was giving disrespect. No effort, no urgency. Like this was just another day for him. And you wanna know what's even messier? The court clocked it. The judge didn't play around. She called out his attitude, his attire, and his pattern of being unavailable and uncooperative, basically read him for filth without even raising her voice. Meanwhile, Stephanie? Nowhere to be seen.
Just saw the update that Drew's sister posted. Not only did Drew show up in court today, his mom, his sister, Arlita, and their husbands were all there to support Desiraye. And of course, Drew showed up in the same exact hoodie and sweats. And thankfully, the judge is seeing right through his bullshit. So Desiraye will start having overnights. She's going to get to see Deshaun on Monday, and then the following week have her first overnight with him in years. So this is a huge win for Deshaun and the first step in him reconnecting with his mother. And the judge also allegedly told Drew that if he breaks this court order and is in contempt of court, that he will give full custody to Desiraye. Desiraye also made it known in court that she has no hard feelings and she's trying to do what's best for her son. She does not want to rip him away from the dad that he knows. All she wants is 50-50 and that fair chance to get to know her son.
So Jenkins have court today. Drew called yesterday to try to have it canceled because of his work or whatever excuse that he made up this time. He tried to have Des change the day and she was like, nah, like I'm not changing the day. We're going to court. So either be there or be square. Now, I don't have an update as of what's going on with court today. I don't even know if they've went yet. I will say that I have become aware of something going on between the situation, and I'm not going to speak too much on it right now. I'm going to let everything come to light on its own. Plus, I just feel like it's not my place. All I'm going to say is that I'm going to be very careful on who I'm defending, and yeah. I am rooting for Des, and I want her to get her son back, or at least be able to visit her son without any issues. Drew pulled up with his hoodie over his head again. Desiraye had all types of support with her. The judge is fed up with Drew at this point. So Desiraye is going to get unsupervised visits with Deshaun, and she's going to get overnight visits with Deshaun. Also, when school starts back up, Deshaun is to have his mother on his emergency contact list and not Stephanie. And let me make this very clear, and Stephanie, I hope you're listening. You have zero rights to Deshaun, period. Drew is to stay on top of visits and communication. And if he keeps going against these court orders once more, then he's going to not have full custody of Deshaun anymore. Also, Stephanie and Drew are not to be talking about Deshaun on social media anymore. But other than that, that's the update. I'm so happy for Desiraye. She's finally going to get that time with her son that she deserves.
Not a word. Not a post. Not even a whisper from her side of the internet. Which makes everyone wonder, why wasn't she there? Why so quiet now? Because let's be honest, Stephanie has been loud in every other chapter of this story. Posting about her bonus baby, throwing subtle digs at Desire on social, making it seem like she and Drew were this united front. But now, silent. Not a reel, not a story, not even a throwback caption pretending things are fine. It's almost like she knew this one wasn't going their way. Or maybe, just maybe, she was hoping to disappear into the background and pretend she had nothing to do with what's been happening behind the scenes. But babe, the streets are watching. And now, with all eyes on the courtroom, the cracks in Stephanie's version of the story are finally starting to show. And we're not even done yet. Because what happened next, well, let's just say it changed everything. Should I spill the rest? Eyes when Desire walked into that courtroom? She didn't come alone. She came cloaked in peace, backed by fire, and surrounded by people who weren't just rooting for her, they were riding for her. The energy? Unshakable. The room shifted. Her support system rolled in like a storm of love, present, intentional, and unapologetically loud with their presence. And here's the part no one saw coming. Drew's own family walked in right alongside her. Yep, you heard that right. Drew's own blood stood with Desire. His sister, her husband, his own mother Alita, and her husband, all of them chose her. If that's not the plot twist of the century, I don't know what is. It wasn't just some quiet walk-in. It was a message. One that screamed from every corner of that courtroom. They weren't going to sit quietly and co-sign Drew's nonsense anymore. It was like watching the final act of a long drama, where the truth finally pulls off the mask, and everyone sees the villain for who he really is. And right there beside Desire? her advocate from Rights and Rights, sitting steady like a legal guardian angel, calm but ready. This wasn't one woman walking into battle. This was a village, loud, loyal, and locked in. It was truth, love, and justice showing up in human form. Honestly, that visual? The silence when Drew saw them standing on her side? It said more than any argument could. Because when your own mother switches sides in a courtroom? That's not just embarrassing, babe, it's damning. That's not family drama, that's receipts in 4K. It made one thing painfully clear to everyone in that room, including the judge, even the people who know Drew best, the ones who've seen him behind closed doors, couldn't justify his behavior anymore. They didn't just support Desire quietly. They did it publicly. Boldly. No apology, no hesitation. And that was the moment the doubt died. The loyalty in that courtroom was undeniable. The message was crystal clear, Desire was never the disruption. She was the stability. The heart. The one who should have been there all along. And when I say Drew looked shook, I mean he looked like someone who realized, a little too late, that he'd lost the only cover he ever had, his family. The judge wasn't there to play games. No time for crocodile tears or weak excuses. She came in like a human gavel and laid it all out. While Desire's rights were restored, Drew got hit with some tight new boundaries. And let me tell you, this wasn't just a slap on the wrist. It was a full reset. From now on, he's out. During Desire's time with Deshawn, Drew isn't allowed to linger. No background lurking, no staying nearby. No filming on the sly. His new role? Drop off the child and leave. He can return only when Desire says so. Period. And the cherry on top? All plans now require 48 hours of notice, and Drew must confirm clearly and on time. The days of ducking texts, ghosting confirmations, or pulling last-minute cancellations. Dead and buried. The first visit under this new ruling? It's already scheduled, Monday the 28th, and guess who's in charge now? Desire. No more being monitored. No more supervised visits. No more twisted narratives. This time, it's all on her terms. Whether she takes Deshawn out for ice cream, catches a movie, or just sits on the living room floor building Lego castles, every second belongs to her.
When I say you were sat, and FYI, yes, Mama came, baby. Mama came. Mama came, I came, Arlita came, and both husbands came. He didn't say nothing to my mom. He walked right by her. And Desiraye is, you can't see, this is where he was sitting. Desiraye is sitting over here with her lawyer. Of course, Desiraye came to. She's no fool. He did not take his hood off. I got there. I arrived after everybody else, so he did not see me. He probably heard my voice, but he did not see me until he was leaving. And when I tell you, at the end, they hand you your paperwork. He got up out of there, and I got up, and I followed him to the elevator. He skipped off and went to the bathroom. I was like, oh, no, we're going to ride the elevator together. Come on. This is a family affair. You wanted to say something to me so bad. Here I am. But you didn't say nothing. You ran away. I will run too. Why are you running from me? I'm only 5'2". What am I going to do to you? Yeah, y'all.
In court today, and I'm so happy for Desiraye that everything's going her way, because I believe she needs to have Deshawn. She's the better parent for him. But I'm gonna read it from my notes because a lot happened. So Drew went to court today with his uniform of his hoodie, his fanny pack, house slippers. He had the whole hoodie on. I mean, he's so disrespectful to court. And of course, he made the court wait 10 minutes because he was on the phone saying it was about work. And he even told the judge, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be somewhere else today. While Desiraye, on the other hand, wore a really pretty dress, and she had her lawyers with her. But also on her side of court, she had Drew's mother, Drew's sister's husband, Arlita and her husband, and then the advocate Rights and Rights. Now, the judge was really stern with him, and you can tell she is tired of him. She told Drew that he is not complying with court orders, and he's actually being very intentional about not complying with court orders. He tried to deny it, but there's no denying that. The judge told him that he's putting this at the last priority of his life when it's supposed to be top priority. So starting ASAP, starting their first visit's going to be on Monday. Desiraye can be with Deshawn alone. The plans need to be set up 48 hours ahead of time, and Drew needs to reply to the messages right away. So Like I said, she has visit on Monday, then she has visit on the 28th. And then after that, starting August 1st, she gets to see him for a full weekend. So she's going to get overnight visits and she's going to be the one picking him up. So he needs to tell her where they're going to be at so she can pick him up and he needs to reply to the message. Judge was very stern with Drew, telling him Deshaun doesn't have a choice in this situation. He is not on the driver's seat of this, like he had said before, that it needs to happen. The judge also told him that they're going to do therapy, and Drew was like, do I have to do this? And the judge said, of course you do. Plus, Desiraye now is going to be on Deshaun's medical records, and she's going to be listed as a secondary parent for the 25-26 school year. I'm not sure about that though. I thought they had pulled him out of school. I'm not too sure about that, but the judge also told him that Stephanie, Drew, and Desiraye cannot talk about this on social media at all whatsoever. We know that Desiree is going to be really good at this, but at the same time, we know that Drew and Stephanie are going to violate that. They've always done it. And the judge told them if things don't go this way, then they're going to do a quick or like an expedited hearing. And then next time they go back, it's not going to be so pretty. So she's going to give Deshaun to Desiraye so Desiraye can facilitate the reunification. And he can also lose the right to be his legal custodian. So I'm really glad that this judge is being so stern about it, because Drew doesn't care. He has no respect for anybody at all whatsoever.
She finally gets to do what should have never been taken away from her in the first place, just be his mom. And that's not just a win, babe. That's a shift. Starting August 1st, Desiraye isn't just getting visits, she's getting overnight weekend time with her son. You heard me right. Not a supervised hour in a park or a rushed meal at a public spot, real weekends. Alternating, back and forth. One weekend, Deshaun goes back to the Jenkins place, well, let's be honest, Stephanie's domain. But the next? He's in his mother's home, her roof. Her food. Her bedtime routine. Her warmth. No more tearful drop-offs, no more rushed door goodbyes. This time, Deshaun will fall asleep hearing his mother's voice at night, and wake up to pancakes and peace in the morning. This is where the real healing begins, over laughter in pajamas, quiet talks on the couch, and all those little moments that make up the kind of bond Stephanie tried so hard to erase. And let's really get into it, because Drew's favorite excuse got dragged in open court. You know the one, that Deshaun doesn't want to go to Desire's house. The judge wasn't having it. Not for a second. She called it what it was, a manipulated child caught between adult agendas. Because Deshaun is a child, babe. A child who's been influenced, nudged, and flat out pulled by the people around him. The judge reminded Drew that this custody isn't about comfort, it's about necessity. About what Deshaun needs to grow up whole. And what he needs is his mother. Full stop. And guess what else made Drew squirm? Therapy. The court didn't just recommend it, they made it mandatory. Drew tried to act like he was above it, tried that tired old "I'm fine, I don't need help" defense. But the judge shut him down before the sentence could even finish. This wasn't about his pride, it was about Deshaun's healing. And if Drew tries to flake out, if he so much as delays or refuses, that could be the final nail in his legal coffin. Because at this point, it's not just about winning or losing. It's about proving whether or not you can show up when it actually counts. But wait, babe, because this next part? It had the entire courtroom holding its breath. Desiraye didn't just get time back. She got legal status fully restored. I'm talking paperwork. Official. Unshakable. She is once again recognized as Deshaun's mother in every legal system that matters, medical, school, all of it. For years, she couldn't even make a doctor's appointment. Couldn't check on his prescriptions. Couldn't get answers about his health. Meanwhile, Stephanie was out here making calls, signing forms, playing mom without the title. Not anymore. All that authority Stephanie had overstepped into? Gone. Wiped out. Erased. She no longer has any legal power to act like she's the one in charge. The control she held onto so tightly just vanished, right there in the courtroom. And honestly, it was long overdue. And babe, the school? Oh, don't even get me started. Desiraye had been treated like a stranger in her own child's academic life. Couldn't walk in. Couldn't sit in conferences. Couldn't check a grade or ask a single question. She'd been cut out completely. Like she never existed. But not anymore. For the 2025 to 2026 school year, Desiraye is listed as the primary parent. That means she has full access. She can show up to meetings, ask questions, check progress, speak to teachers, sign off on forms, all of it. She's finally back where she belongs, in the room, with a voice, and with power. And this? This wasn't just a court win. It was a spiritual one. A reclamation. A rewriting of every false narrative that ever tried to push her out of the picture. But babe, we're not done. Because with all these changes, the court made one more move that had jaws on the floor, a gag order. And I mean a real one. Ironclad. Bulletproof. No posts, no shade, no cryptic captions or comment section digs, no TikToks. No tweets. No, I'm just responding, live streams. Just silence. And yes, before you ask, Stephanie is 1000% included. Because if you remember, she already violated court orders in the past. She treated those rulings like suggestions. When people called her out, she threw Drew under the bus, claimed he didn't tell her, like she needed a bedtime story read aloud to understand a legal order. Well babe, the judge made very sure there'd be no room for interpretation this time. No excuses. No loopholes. No more story time. Stephanie can't pretend to be clueless anymore. That defense? It's dead and gone. Because now, the court has officially put her on notice. If she even so much as breathes Desiraye's name or so much as hints at Deshawn's situation online, whether through a shady post, a cryptic TikTok caption, or a passive-aggressive comment, she's in direct violation of the gag order. And this time, the judge made it crystal clear, no more loopholes, no more hiding behind Drew, and no more pretending like she didn't know.
Jenkins have court today. Drew called yesterday to try to have it canceled because of his work or whatever excuse that he made up this time. He tried to have Des change the day and she was like, nah, like I'm not changing the day. We're going to court, so either be there or be square. Now, I don't have an update as of what's going on with court today. I don't even know if they've went yet. I will say that I have become aware of something going on between this situation, and I'm not going to speak too much on it right now. I'm going to let everything come to light on its own. Plus, I just feel like it's not my place. All I'm gonna say is that I'm gonna be very careful on who I'm defending, and yeah. I am rooting for Des, and I want her to get her son back, or at least be able to visit her son without any issues. With his hoodie over his head, again. Desiraye had all types of support with her. The judge is fed up with Drew at this point. So Desiraye is going to get unsupervised visits with Deshawn, and she's going to get overnight visits with Deshawn. Also, when school starts back up, Deshawn is to have his mother on his emergency contact list and not Stephanie. And let me make this very clear, and Stephanie, I hope you're listening. You have zero rights to Deshawn, period. Drew is to stay on top of visits and communication. And if he keeps going against these court orders once more, then he's going to not have full custody of Deshawn anymore. Also, Stephanie and Drew are not to be talking about Deshawn on social media anymore. But other than that, that's the update. I'm so happy for Desiraye. She's finally going to get that time with her son that she deserves.
And then came the moment that changed everything. The judge didn't just warn them with words. She issued a command backed by serious consequences. If either Stephanie or Drew dares to step out of line again, the court won't waste another second. There will be an expedited emergency hearing. No delays. No second chances. Just one slam of the gavel and boom, custody flipped. Deshawn would be placed fully in Desiraye's care. No shared weekends. No alternating holidays. A full reversal. It was a line in the sand, bold and sharp. The court's patience has run out. One wrong move, and it's game over. And for once, no amount of online tantrums, viral pity posts, or teary GoFundMe sob stories will be able to undo it. The court didn't just return Desiraye's rights, it built a legal wall around her and her son. A system that finally protects her from the chaos Stephanie and Drew kept fueling. And if they even think about stirring the pot again, the court is ready to strike harder and faster than ever before. And then there's Drew. Oh, Drew. While everyone else was reeling from the court's decisions, he was doing what he does best, running from accountability. but not quietly. No, he made it loud in the most passive, ice-cold way imaginable. As soon as the hearing ended, Drew walked right past his own mother and sister as if they were invisible. Jolene, clearly holding back tears, tried to reach out. She didn't yell. She didn't accuse. All she wanted was a moment. A single, honest exchange. To speak on the betrayal, the lies, the way he smeared their father's legacy just to prop up his own story. But Drew? He couldn't even meet her gaze. He slithered past her like a coward, eyes glued to the floor, body stiff with shame. And the coldness didn't end there. His mother, Alida, stood just a few feet away, silent, hopeful, waiting for the son she raised to acknowledge her. But he passed her like a stranger in the street. No nod. No glance. Nothing. That wasn't just avoidance, that was collapse. That was a man stripped down to the guilt he'd buried for years, exposed not just to the judge, but to his own blood. And here's the kicker, you're probably asking yourself, why didn't the judge just give Desiraye full custody right now? And the answer is actually sadder than you think. Deshaun hasn't had a real relationship with his mother for more than 3 years. Uprooting him overnight from the only routine, house, and surroundings he's known would have caused deep emotional trauma. So the court didn't flip the switch immediately. They're taking a phased approach, first visits, then overnight stays, and eventually a full 50-50 custody split. Unless, of course, Drew screws up again, then the process speeds up like wildfire. Meanwhile, Desiraye? She's not out for revenge. She's focused on healing. She wants Deshaun to have a stable, loving bond with his mom, not to drag him through a messy back and forth. That alone? That speaks volumes about who the real adult in this mess is. But Stephanie? She's spiraling. Capital S spiraling. And just days before the hearing, instead of grounding herself or respecting the legal process, she did what she always does, she launched a power play. She texted Desiraye, not to cooperate, but to control. She outright told her that all communication about Deshaun had to now go through her. Not, let's coordinate, not, how can we work together, but, I'm in charge now. Through her. As what, exactly? She's not the legal guardian. She's not even listed as an emergency contact. She's just Drew's girlfriend, but somehow, she tried to crown herself the gatekeeper to Deshaun's entire life. Then she hit even lower. She told Desiraye that Deshaun would never view her as a real mom because she wasn't there these past 3 years. But what Stephanie conveniently forgot, or hoped Desiraye had forgotten, is that she and Drew were the ones who made that absence happen. They changed their numbers, blocked Desiraye, and even called the police on her when she tried to check on her own child. That's not abandonment, that's erasure. That's not a mother giving up. That's a mother being pushed out. If you thought that was wild, just wait, because this story is far from over. The drama's brewing, the stakes are higher than ever, and the next move could change everything. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, babe, because the tea? It's only just getting started.